Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this particular video is concerning an alternator problem with Subaru, but really applies to most cars. I see so many forum posts and people misdiagnosing this and recommending people, it's got to be a bad battery, throw full parts cannon at it, change the alternator without checking anything, and then it is the battery. How do you know what the fault is? Well, I'm going to show you guys how to diagnose it and then show you how to replace the alternator, in particular in the Subaru, but again, it'll apply to a lot of vehicles, so stay tuned for that. So this is actually a 99 Subaru Outback Limited. Actually a beautiful car, even in this day and age. I think it's really stylish. It's not the original rims on it, but she does have those. So what happened is car wouldn't start after she went into the grocery store. And at first glance, you would probably suspect the battery, but it turns out that's not the case, and I'm going to show you guys how to quickly determine that. So before we get started, just to clarify, the car wouldn't start, it just clicked. The battery was dead. It was down at 10 volts. So, but I have charged it for the purpose of this test. So I'm going to turn the headlights on in the car. Okay, so I've got the high beams on right now. And take a note of how bright the lights are, or not bright they are, or whatever you call it. And then we're going to start the car, and we should see the brightness increase. So why does this work? So with the car not running, all the power from the vehicle is coming from the battery, obviously. It's coming out of the battery, turning on the lights. When you start the car, the alternator is going to be charging the battery, which normally would float at 12.5 volts. It's going to charge at about 13.5 volts when the alternator is running, because the engine is running, spinning the alternator. So that extra volt should be visible as an increase in brightness. These are LED headlights, so it's not going to be as apparent as it is on older style halogens, but let's give it a shot here. Should brighten up when it started. It didn't. So now let's do the scientific test. So for this you're going to need a voltmeter. Any cheap old, even an analog gauge voltmeter will do. You're going to want to go on the DC volt setting. And on mine it's 40 as the maximum voltage is expecting. Mine isn't an auto ranging meter. Some of them are, but set it for a scale higher than what you're going to measure, which is going to be 12 volts. So for mine it's the 40 scale. Right now it's showing 0 because I'm not hooked up, but with the car just sitting here, 12.46 volts, so 12.5 volts, which is what it'll normally float at when it's just sitting here in good state. You can see that the voltage actually went down. Right now it's actually okay. It actually was charging right now, but for a while it didn't. It was sitting at 10 volts, 11 volts, and it'll continuously do that and jump around, which means this alternator is bad. You can also hear it's whining. It's whining and it's actually hot for the touch, which it shouldn't be. We're at 11.8 volts, so it's dropped even though it's running and the alternator should be charging. So you also want to confirm that you have the same droop in voltage, not at the actual battery terminal here, but also here on the cable, because it could be a bad connection between these two. Quite often corrosion happens in here, or the clamp is loose, and then you'll see 12 volts here and 10 volts here. That means you have a bad connection between the two. The last place we want to look at is on the output of the alternator itself. Put the meter right here. And you see we've got the same voltage there, so if we had 14 volts here, 13 volts, anything higher than the battery right now, then we could say that it's probably a cable problem, not the alternator that isn't putting out power. But it's the same as what we're reading on the battery and on the cable at the battery. So pretty safe to say that thing is shot. So let's swap it out. Tools you're going to need: 10mm socket or wrench, 12mm socket, of course the ratchet to go with it. So step one, always if you're working on electrical, is disconnect the battery. So it's 10mm on this one, on the positive here. And we're going to want to clean up this corrosion after too. Take that off and tuck it in. Yeah, that's corroded pretty bad, so we're going to clean this all up later. Next is a 10mm on this plastic cover. It's a nut. Don't drop it. And there's another one here. And there goes my socket. Ironically, it wasn't the 10mm. That's bizarre. Hello. That's gone forever. This one's a bolt on the left-hand side. Take the cover off. So this should apply anything from 98 to I think about 2011 of the EJ series of Subaru engines. So the 2.0, the 2.5 should all be very similar to this. They've got the same cover on here. So we'll take this 10mm bolt out. And loosen this 12, which I have to find. Ha! I knew it wasn't gone forever because it's a 12, not a 10. Once you get that one loosened up, you can tilt this bracket up and slide it out. There's a tensioning system here for the belt on the alternator. So this drops the alternator down, which gives you slack to remove the belt. Take note of how tight your belt is for when you go to put it back together. I could turn it about vertical, but not any further. That's about the right tension. So what we want to do is loosen this this clamping nut here, or bolt, sorry, which locks it from sliding up and down. And once you loosen that, then you can drive the top bolt and it'll drop the alternator down. Once we're loose and we can take the belt off, then we can take the alternator off. Okay. Now this one's looking a little bit rusty and dusty here, so I'm going to spray some penetrant on it. WD-40 or penetrating oil will work. Just don't get it on the belt. Or on the pulleys. And you can see the alternator is dropping. Okay, after you get your belt off, flip it inside out, flex it, look for any cracks. If there's cracks across here, replace this belt. This is a great time to replace it anyways if you don't know how old it is, but this one's in really good shape. I think it's pretty recent. So we're going to reuse this one. So now the alternator is loose, but it's still held in. So this bolt actually goes into the alternator to hold it. So we're going to have to take this bolt out all the way. And this one here holds it from swiveling. But before we do that, we're going to take the electrical connectors off. So there's two connectors on the alternator. The first one is just a standard clip connector. You can see the clip on the back. Just squeeze that in with your finger, like that, and then pull out. Helps if you wiggle it, and that one's out. And then the one on top is a 10mm nut. There are two wires in here, so this is also a good spot to clean up the wiring with a brass brush or something, because sometimes these get corroded in here. And when you put it back together, make sure you're catching both of these under the onto that nut, otherwise you'll have problems. So to pull this main bolt out, you'll see at the back there's either a bracket or a nut usually held in here. The wiggly bracket here. You want to hold that so you don't lose it down in there while you're taking the bolt out here. There's also two washers here, don't lose those. Most of you will have to use a ratchet or wrench to get this off, but I have superhuman strength. Just kidding. This is the orientation of that bracket. It sits like this down inside there. There's the nut, obviously. So yeah, it goes down like this. Now it helps to wiggle the alternator to get the main bolt out. So here's how the bolt looks with the two washers. And sometimes these are really hard to get out, they're a little tight. Like this one is, so I'm gonna get a little pry bar. By little, I mean the biggest one I have, of course. Go big or go home. And this is a Bosch unit. AL4330X is the part number. And they are obtainable. Most of them are rebuilt, but they're usually okay. Remy also makes one. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you can hear it crunching. Probably not on camera, but it is possible to replace the voltage regulator inside here, but with it sounding so crunchy, I wouldn't risk it for this one. Yeah, online they're about 250 bucks. And usually there is a core charge for parts like alternators, which means when
when you go to the auto store, you buy one of these for $250 or more, they're going to charge you a core. The core on this one's $70, and you get that back when you bring your old one in. So it's a good idea to take the old one out first, bring it to the store. That way you have the right one to compare it to, as well as you won't have to pay that core. You'll have it right away. And this thing is hot to the touch, even though we're running around for a bit. So there's definitely issues in this thing. Possibly more than the voltage regulator, obviously. It looks pretty cooked. God, it smells like it too. No, and this one actually is a remanufactured one. There's a sticker. So it's already been changed once. You're also going to want to get yourself one of these things if you're doing anything battery or electrical related on a vehicle. It's a battery terminal brush, or cleaner it's called, not brush, but there's a brush inside it. So it opens up like this to give you the brush part for the inside the cable. Sorry, the cable. And there's also this part that goes over the terminal to clean it. So these are like about $10. I think I've had this one since I don't know, decades now. So it's definitely a good investment. Just throw it in your glove box. So you just take this thing, work it down over the terminal as you're turning it. There we go, nice and shiny. Now we don't want to forget to clean the cables themselves too, so the other brush comes in. This is just brake clean, by the way, just to make it quicker to clean it up. But you can definitely just use a brush and scrape that away and get rid of it. So Subaru does put this red plastic bit so you don't short something out, but it has this bottom, insulator too that's supposed to help with corrosion, but it doesn't always work, as you can see. Sometimes because of a loose connection, it corrodes quicker. Sometimes it's just climate or anything like that, or you've had electrical issues, it likes to corrode. You can get little felt pads that you put down around these, and they do help with that too. They come in a pack of black and red, or reds, or sometimes just red or black, but you can just slide those over there and it does help with that as well. So that's an option. Okay, our new alternator showed up. This one happens to be an AC Delco unit. This rubber grommet was stuck on the old alternator. It did not come with the new one. Make sure you check that this is here. It should have actually stayed with the electrical plug. So we can go ahead and put it onto the electrical plug. Either way, just make sure you have that. And make sure the nut, you have the nut. This one came with a new one, but it's good to check that you have that too. And because it's a new alternator, the bushing is already pushed all the way out, so this should drop in fairly easily. If you have a used one, this will be probably pushed in a ways. You can put it in a vise and retract it to make this part easier, otherwise it's going to be hard to drop it in between the spacing here. So just line up the long bolt in there. Dropping the bracket. We just want this kind of finger tight for now, and you'll get the other bolt for the tensioner. Get that started on there, and get your drive belt. Normally you always want to install these as good practice so you can read the writing when you're standing at the front of the car. Just make sure you're lined up on the belt with the ribs here. I'm going to go ahead with the 12mm. And run the tensioner down to lift the alternator up. And you'll see that's tightening up the belt. And the correct tension is when you can't go past halfway on the belt. Okay, now you're going to want to lock down this tensioner bolt onto the alternator so it can't move. And that'll just fold down like this. It's easiest to put the shoulder bolt in now so that it holds this in place for you. 10mm on that guy. Just snug him up. And you can go ahead and tighten down the main long bolt onto the alternator. The bracket bends on you like this one did, just back off a little bit till it's straight. Second cover for the alternator. There's a nut on this side and a bolt on this side. And those are 10mm as well. Right, I'll take your electrical, like that. 10mm again. Don't go crazy tight on that one. And plug in your electrical connector. Make sure it clicks. And finally reconnect the battery. 10mm on these. Make sure you can't move them at all after you've got them tightened down. Okay, at rest we're at 12.9 volts now. I'm going to start the car and we should see an increase in voltage if it's working. .4. I don't know if this is going to work with LED lights on this car. It does work with halogen lights. LED lights work on current, not voltage, so this might not show up, but these lenses need to get cleaned. But let's see if they do increase in brightness. I'll turn the lights on, I'll start the car. If there were halogens, you'd see the brightness increase. That's another way to check that the alternator is working. Otherwise, we might not see it. Let's see. Alright, job well done. If this helped you in any way, please feel free to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, comment below. And above all, have yourself an amazing day. Thanks for watching.